What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see behind me, we've got something pretty different for this video. I've basically reviewed all the 2021 models that have come out. There are a few that I haven't done, but either they've come in and gotten gone before I could make a video, or we just haven't gotten that particular model in yet. However, I do have a long list of bikes that I kind of want to show you guys and do reviews on. So if you like seeing these more custom bikes, let me know. I've got access to a ton of them and would be happy to show you. This particular bike is an FXR, but frame is custom, engine's custom. Pretty much everything on this bike has been custom built here at Timms Harley Davidson. Now, this build was done in about 2015, just for some context as far as why the parts that were used and chosen for this particular build are on here. So I don't want to say it's a dated build, but these were the best things available at the time. They still held up, so it's one of those things, well, if it works, why change it? I have a ton of time on this bike. I kept it at my house for a good while and got to ride it. This thing makes so much power. It's scary fast. It rides as well as it looks, and that's why it was built. It was purpose built to be a rider's motorcycle. So although it does look really good and took best of show in 2016 at the Hot Bike Tour in Asheville, North Carolina, it does have the go to match it. With that, we'll jump into the review. I'll do the walk around and kind of show you all the components that went into this build. So before we break down all the individual components, I'll give you a quick walk around and let you see this bike. I hope the video does justice to this paint, because that's one of the things that really sets this bike off in person. Obviously, the sheet metal work done on the tank with that teardrop indentation. And then the gold leaf, and it's really faint, but you can see the Timms Harley Davidson logo in there, as well as on the air cleaner, you can see, which I think was a really nice touch. It's just a really well built, super clean, but also purpose built bike, like built to be ridden. I've put a good many miles on this thing. I kept it at my house for a little while to ride it and enjoy it, and it is as much fun to ride as it looks like it would be. So I guess we'll start just like we've done all the other review videos and kind of talk about the tank a little bit. So as far as I know, these are all original FXR 10s. Obviously, this gas tank has had a significant amount of work done to it to kind of dish that inside out, which makes it look really good. You don't notice it from afar, you notice it when you get up close, but it looks really good. The low profile gas cap, I like how low that tank sits on the frame too, so when you look back here from the side, really custom look. I'm not sure who makes this speedo, but I remember the last time I rode it, I'm pretty sure it didn't work. I don't know if there's just a wire short or what. I know when I used to ride it, it worked, and now it doesn't. It is clean. You know, I would like to have a speedo, so probably be good to get that working. It is a clean look on this bike. You know, it doesn't stand out much. It's tucked right out of the way. And from what I recall, that's literally all it tells you is your speed, nothing else, which I guess is what allows it to be so small, because that's all it does. So moving up, you keep that same small theme with the mirrors. They do work. They're not the greatest. I mean, obviously with that size, you're not going to see a ton of stuff, but they keep you legal. They keep the look of this bike really clean. Like I said, you can see they do work. You just don't see as much. These handlebars obviously have been painted to match the bike. I'm pretty sure these were like Renthal fat bars, like the motocross bars. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what they were originally. These risers, obviously White Iron Customs. Never heard of them. Might be a big company. Just I haven't seen those personally. I think those are a 10-inch riser and then the 2-inch bar, so it puts you at 12. If you've watched any of the other videos, you'll see that's pretty standard stuff that we do here around Timms. We feel like that 12 is pretty much a good all-around like size for most people, so that's what we put on most bikes. The controls, obviously, is just stock Harley controls. Nice Avon grips on here that feel really good. And then these levers are the adjustable, you know, so you just flip this little tab and you can see the lever moving closer or farther away from the bar. I was looking at this name before the video. I think it's Oberon, which I've also never heard of. Could be a good company. I know they feel amazing. They feel really good. They're really well made, nicely machined, look great on the bike. It's just I personally have never heard of them. So when we move around to the front, you see we've got this fairing, and I think this thing looks great on this bike. That Daymaker tucks in there perfectly. One thing that I thought was comical was this fairing is off of one of those like little street 750s, which in my opinion is one of the worst bikes that Harley has ever made. But as you can see, the parts are able to be repurposed. I mean, who would have ever thought that that dorky little bike would have a fairing that would look this good on an FXR? But it does. And again, the paintwork helps a lot to tie all this in, you know, the trim ring around that Daymaker being painted to match. This inverted front end was custom built by a company called Mean Street. Feels great. I'm not sure as far as the springs and exactly how it's set up, but I know it does ride really good going down the highway. Looks great too, fits the look of this bike really well. Obviously, performance machine, brake calipers, and I love these wheels. I'm not sure if you can tell, but they are like the smooth wheel. They're smooth, nice and rounded. Those are San Diego custom wheels. I like the look of those a lot. Hard to see with those big brakes on there, but I like how clean they are. I like those more narrow spokes on there. Obviously, being FXR, it is a chain drive, which I'm kind of torn on. I mean, say what you want. Once you get into a certain horsepower, yeah, a chain is necessary, but that belt is smooth. It doesn't need to be oiled, so it's not slinging stuff off. It's not picking up dirt when you do oil it. And it does have, the chain's got a look about it though. You know, it does look good on the bike versus the belt, but they both have their pros and cons. Not exactly sure who makes this LED tail light. So this bike was built in 2015. So some of this stuff on this bike is a little bit older, but I think he wants to keep it this way just because this is how it was done when he had it built. And I mean, this stuff still works. Like this seat, for example. This is a Mustang seat, which is a great seat. They've been around, they still make good seats. Not as popular as some of the other brands that are on the market today, but looks really good, still feels great, great to ride on. So really no point in changing it just because everybody else is running, you know, certain manufacturer's seat that we won't say because I like their stuff. I don't want them to think that I'm bashing them, but this one works. So it's kind of like, why change what's already working? Now this is one of the big things that I wanted to talk about, and that was the motor that's in this bike. Is one of the things that makes it so special. So this is a 110 cubic inch engine, but it's rubber mounted as well as balanced. So obviously if you know Harleys, you know they did one or the other for a lot of years. They didn't do both. Well, this one was kind of ahead of its time. Obviously we do have that now, but we did this one before Harley did it. You'll also see you have the 6-speed transmission. This motor makes a ton of power, so I'm not sure what the dyno numbers were. This thing was built kind of before I came along here at Timms, but I've ridden a lot of bikes and I can assure you it makes a ton of power. If I had to guess, I would probably put this thing at 110 to 120 horsepower. Again, just a guess, but I've ridden a lot of bikes, and the low end torque that this thing has and the get up and go, I'm gonna say it's up there in the hundreds somewhere. As far as the rear shocks, just my time with this bike has gone through, I think, 3 different sets of shocks. So we had some Oleans on here. Those rode great, felt great. Rocky, the owner, ended up using those on something else. So then I think we switched to Legend suspension for a while, which again rode great, felt great. and I think it went through one other different style of shock, but I never think he changed them because the shocks was bad. It was just like whatever bike he was gonna ride more, I think he would kind of put the better shock on it. So he has a XR 1200. I know the Oleans ended up on that. And then he also has an FXRP that I'll review. If you guys want to see that, leave me a comment down below and let me know if you want to see the FXRP. It's way more original. It's not nearly as custom as this one, but it does have a lot of custom stuff done to it. Just not a custom frame, it's original motor. So there's a lot of originality to it. Anyway, we've ended up with the work shocks on this bike. I don't think I've ridden it since they've changed these, but I know how picky he is, so I know they must ride well if he's ended up leaving these on here for a while. So I think we've kind of touched on all the main points of this bike. I'll give you one more quick walk around and let you look at it. That's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. If you like seeing this FXR, let me know. Like I said, doing the walk around, I do have access to Rocky's FXRP, which is much more original, but still very custom. I can do that one next. Let me know down in the comments below. If you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you next time.